Now, in the portfolio announcement today, Nirmala Sitharaman has been the big surprise, being appointed the finance minister, only the second woman finance minister and the first with a full charge. But she has her task cut out for her with big challenges ahead. Today, the GDP numbers revealed that the Jan-March quarter GDP was at a 5-year low, while unemployment is at a 45-year high. Ms. Sitharaman will also be presenting her maiden budget on the 5th of July.
Nirmala Sitharaman, the first woman finance minister of India and the only woman in India's topmost 5-member security group. Her 11-year-old political career graph is in sharp contrast to the economy, which is staring at a slowdown. Within hours of Sitharaman taking charge, GDP data showed that growth at 6.8% was down to the slowest in the last 5 years at 6.8%. The GDP growth for the last quarter, January to March, fell below 6%, and unemployment is at 6.1%, highest in 45 years, confirming previous controversial reports. While the government maintains that as the new survey uses a different methodology, these numbers are not strictly comparable to previous surveys. The report itself compares the new data to previous NSSO job surveys. Agricultural sector growth slowed to 2.9%, down from 5% last year. The GDP growth for the last quarter, January to March, fell below 6%, and unemployment is at 6.1%, highest in 45 years. This was a controversial report before the elections, but now the government has confirmed it. Agricultural sector growth slowed down to 2.9%.
That bit of slowdown which is continuing. But from the second quarter onwards, we expect the growth in the consumption to come up. And even at 6.8%, we are the fastest growing.
In fact, the first cabinet meeting of the second Modi government focused primarily on the economic welfare for poor and vulnerable sections of the society, especially farmers. The cabinet discussed extending 6,000 rupees a year, cash out to all farmers under the PM Kisan scheme, something that was seen as an important factor in the BJP's huge win, the farmer pension scheme, and providing free LPG connections to all poor households. However, for all these expenditures, the new finance minister needs to improve tax revenues, which have fallen short of the government's targets. Fiscal deficit numbers released today are a rude reminder of this. At 3.4% of the GDP, it just about met the government's target, even though the government had revised the target upwards a few months ago.
Other economic headwinds include unemployment, falling exports, low domestic investment and consumption, and rising cost of oil. Crude oil, in fact, had recently hit a 6-month high.
However, the most critical reform businesses want in land and labour, but these are also the most politically sensitive.
I would personally say let's start with a clean slate and let's take this as a ground zero. What that we've released does compare, but with a rider, with an explanatory note.
In fact, the first cabinet meeting of the new Modi government focused primarily on the economic welfare of the poor and the vulnerable sections of the society, especially the farmers.
With Mariam Alavi and Himanshu Shekhar Mishra, Shruti Menon for NDTV.